Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, was announced 1 year ago.
1 year.
Let's see where all those books went. Stay tuned. Welcome back, Gainers, to another incredible, exciting, fantastic episode of ComicGains. And if you're new to the show, I'm Adam.
I'm Zach, and this is Princess, the Batgirl Highness, doing the princess wave. You do it too. Bow and respect. Of course, there's a Coco, her bat doggy.
There's your bat dog's here. All right, guys. If you don't hit the like button right now, Princess will hit you with a batarang. It'll just come in the mail, though, so you have to wait for it. All right, guys. So today is Monday, and we got a brand new drop list, and this is an extra special one. This one's really cool. All the books kind of go together in a special meaning, and if you've been living under a rock, or maybe you just don't care, James Gunn announced last year in January the lineup for Gods and Monsters Chapter 1. That's what they're calling this first phase. They're calling it Chapter. It's probably good that they're giving it like a different name, but it's going to be Chapter 1 of the new DCU world. And so some of these are movies, some of them are TV shows, speculation, stuff like that. But these are all things he pretty much guaranteed he was going to use these characters or titles in some way, shape, or form. And these books all went crazy, like, super crazy. Like everyone was hunting for them as soon as they all came out. The prices went nuts. I know we were looking for them. We were selling them, a little bit of both. And it was exciting. It's cool because DC hasn't been like on anybody's radar for a little while, and it's nice to see their books go crazy. Well, we compiled a list of all those books, actually just 5 of them. And we wanted to give you guys numbers. Make sure you guys made good decisions on buying them at the price last year when they got announced. Or a lot of people, I know, kind of forgot some of these books a little bit. So maybe if you didn't buy it then, maybe now's a good time to get it. Or there's a third or Zach will tell you, don't buy this book at all because the movie's going to suck. And he knows movies.
I know. I drink and I know things.
Exactly. And what do you drink? What are you drinking?
Right now, I'm drinking coffee. Princess got me a super coffee, extra coffee energy, 7 grams of protein, 200 milligrams of caffeine. It's vanilla latte. And there's something you might not know about vanilla lattes. That's Princess's favorite drink.
That's true.
Just saying. 130 calories and a bunch of other words I'm not going to read. That's what this looks like. This is what it feels like. And guess what?
Is it a triple XL or a double XL?
I don't know.
Huh.
Double X.
Double X. You don't want to go triple.
For your pleasure.
Or you won't go home.
Or you won't go home ever.
Coffee and energy mixed together. Isn't coffee normally energy? Is it good? Oh, there's 7 grams of protein.
Wow. Too. It tastes like a melted ice cream cone. In a good way.
That's kind of cool. Melted ice cream cone? That's a good explanation.
It's thick. It's delicious.
All right. We didn't come here to talk about drinks. We came here to talk about comics. But don't forget, we also hang out on Whatnot every Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This week is going to be a special show. Extra gains to be had. Come hang out with us. Zach and Adam first at 3 p.m. Princess at 6. And if you all been asking yourself, why does that girl in the middle not talking, just make crazy faces at us the whole time? Well, it's because she's saving it all for her Whatnot show. So make sure you come there and hang out. It's just a good time. We love all you guys. You don't even have to buy anything. Just come and hang out with us. It's just a good chance for us to talk. Zach usually gets really drunk. It's a good time, right?
But you definitely should be on this week because we're going to have deals. A lot of big books.
How many deals?
Deals, 3 of them.
Deals. Both. All right, let's get to it. Let's get into it. We came here to talk about DC. Every book on the list is DC. Every book is James Gunn spec. Let's go for it. First book, number 5, we got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, issue number 1, 2021. Pretty recent book. Belquist Evely did some awesome artwork on this book. And Tom King, the writer, the brilliant Tom King. Love him or hate him, depending on what books he's done, And, Princess has brought along her special blank sketch cover, which was, I think, cut in with like an X-Acto blade for a design, which is pretty cool. You should look into those, getting some of those. All right, guys. So, if you were one of the people that did not pick up this book when it came out or read the series, it is an 8-issue miniseries, and it basically plots Supergirl's traumatic past after leaving the planet of Krypton. And I think most of us read it. I know Zach read it. We ended up picking this book up and read through it. I wanted to see what all the hype was about. This got announced and everyone's like, oh my God, the story is so good. And I was like, I need to know what this is about. So we picked it up. We read it. The plot is basically like Supergirl is leaving Krypton, like we just said, after... Well, she actually gets stuck there for a while after the planet explodes. Like a big chunk of it kind of like survives, and she has to like live on the chunk with like a group of people, and they do their best to like survive while it's just a chunk, and eventually, you know, basically...
Yeah, they were getting like radiation.
Yeah, so eventually they have to leave. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's a cool journey about her basically like leaving that point and eventually ending up on Earth. But she ends up going to this planet for her 21st birthday that doesn't have a yellow sun so that she can get drunk, which I thought was a cool part of the story, you know, because they can't really get drunk on a yellow planet, but they can on a red planet.
Yeah.
Ends up running into this little girl whose father was killed by a murderer, and she's basically trying to convince Supergirl to find this guy and bring her dad to justice. And it's just a long journey about finding this guy. The artwork is really amazing. The story's told from the little girl's perspective too, instead of like Supergirl is obviously the main character, but she's the ride along character, so you get to kind of like experience a story through the young girl. And that's why I've said this before, it reminded me a lot of like True Grit, where in the John Wayne movie, the young girl's like family gets killed and she hires like this old, like, you know, police officer to track down the killer and bring him to justice. So great book. I think they could do something really cool with this as a movie. Recent news, they also recently announced they cast Millie Alcock from House of Dragon is going to be playing Supergirl in this series. And I believe this is how it's going to pan out. They're going to do the Superman movie first, which is, I think, going to be called Brave and the Bold, but there might be something else for the Superman one. But she's going to appear in that movie first, and then she should get her solo title after that, her solo show. I believe that's how it's going to work out for this character. So it's exciting. It's exciting. Like I said, did you like the book?
Yeah, I really liked the book. It was very enticing, very fun. I thought by explanations from another person it was going to be a little bit different.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
It's completely different than what people like were explaining it to be. And I thought it met the hype. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world. Tom King's writing sometimes gets a little strange for me, but the artwork's really good. And I still think overall the story's good. But anyway, let's talk numbers. Did it go up? Did it go down? I think actually all these books went down, right?
It was taken off a year ago at $197 for a CGC 9.8. Now, it's lost a little bit of steam. It decelerated a little bit. It's lower in altitude at 175. The range, $46. Someone got lucky to as high as 197. Average sale is 121. So it didn't drop very much, 11%. But still, it's dropped a little bit. It's staying kind of steady. It's going to take off again once they show Supergirl in the costume and everything. So that's good. There's 241 total graded. 162 of them is 9.8. So it's a pretty easy book to get a 9.8 at 67% of total graded. Now, I like the story and everything, and I believe she's supposed to show up, I don't know for how long, in Superman Legacy, or...
Is that what it's called, Superman Legacy?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I was thinking Brave and the Bold, but Legacy sounds right.
Yeah, she could show up in that too. I have no idea, but someone said they suspect her, or is supposed to be in
I think
Legacy.
She's already cast for that.
Okay, Legacy.
So I guess for sure she's going to be in that.
Okay, cool. And then after that, she's going to get her own movie, which is what we're talking about right now. Great book, great cover, iconic, great story. I think you should get it a 9.8. Now, I think you should buy it raw, once again. And I've said this over and over again. Get it personalized, because it makes it a little bit more special. Personally, it's in a signature of the artist. Maybe the original creator?
Tom King, good Tom King signature.
Or Tom King, yeah. I think that would look freaking amazing. Yeah. Or get Alcock on it.
Millie?
Some
Millie?
Alcock.
That would be cool. And she's like right at that cusp where she's like just about to be really famous, so you might be able to get that still for like under $100 signature. Probably won't cost you $500. That's
no.
All right, number 4 on the list, and I wish I had this book. I think it's the only book on the list we don't have. Weird War Tales, number 93, 1980. Ooh, good cover on this book too. Really good cover. And I have to admit, I had no idea what this book was. I had no idea what this team was until the announcement. So this is like all new to me about this character. Now doing a little more research and seeing who the creators were on this book, I can understand why it's so good. So you have Joe Kubert doing the artwork and JMD Mateus, two amazing creators putting this book together and working on it. And this is the first appearance of the Creature Commandos. And this series was going on for a while before. I was like, issue 93 is when they first show up and kind of like take over. It's a different kind of team, a group of sort of villain type characters, and they get put together to fight in the war against the enemies. Sound a little familiar?
Yeah, a little bit like a
Suicide Squad-ish.
Yeah.
But obviously, we got an announcement. James Gunn was really interested in this story and wanted to do more with it. So he announced it's going to be a seven episode TV show on HBO Max.
Animated, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it's going to be animated. And yeah, it sounds really cool. I did a little research for the team. So this is like who's going to be on the team for Creature Commandos. You have Rick Flag Sr., the father of Rick Flag from Suicide Squad. And you also have Princess Ilana. You have the Bride of Frankenstein. You have Nina, who is like an amphibious doctor, I believe, some sort of thing. You have Frankenstein. You have G.I. Robot. And they're going to bring back Economist, Diebeard from Peacemaker. Is going to be in the show. So it's almost like a prequel to the Suicide Squad. It's kind of like an early version where they put together all these guys and made them do some stuff. And there's a lot of really cool people that are going to be in this, but some notable characters. You got Frank Grillo is going to be Rick Flag Sr., and you got Alan Tudyk is going to be, I think he's going to be Dr. Phosphorus. Oh, I didn't even say Dr. Phosphorus is going to be in this as well. And David Harbour is going to be Frankenstein, as well as Sean Gunn is going to do G.I. Robot. So the
cool.
brother. So I know a lot of people are kind of upset he's getting so many roles. I really don't care. I like the guy. So they're like, oh, just because his brother he's getting all these. Who cares? I don't know. Like, he's an interesting guy. He works hard. But anyway, really interesting story. I'd love to get like a collected version of this and read it. I'd love to find this book, but it sounds really cool, and it's interesting how stuff like this goes under the radar for all these years. Like 1980s when this came out, and like, we didn't know about this. I didn't know about it. Now we know. Now you know. And what else should you know? Maybe the price, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It was getting weird. The right kind of weird. A year ago, for a CDC 9.6, it was selling for $700. Now, $536. You know, it's actually just got a little strange. Just strange. 536 to 700 is the range. 617 is average sale. It's about a 23% drop for a 9.6. Interesting enough, a 9.8 sold for only in 1 year. Only one sold for $660. But it says fair market value is $3,400.
Wow.
And that 660 is so close to the 536. I have no idea how expensive this book truly is, because there's not enough sales data on there. But for sure, from what we can tell, it's dropped a little bit. Not a lot, a little bit. There's only 156 total graded. 13 of them are 9.8, and 24 of them are 9.6s. So it's about 8% of total grades in 9.8. About 8%. So this book has not been graded a lot. There isn't a slew of high-grade copies out there to get good information on. So this is one of the situations where someone might put a 9.8 on there. You might get it for $400. You might have to pay $1,000. I think this is a book you want to go after. If you don't mind the grade, just go for a raw. You don't really need this book graded. But if you do mind the grade, you gotta hunt one down, either graded 9.0 or a nice copy, and maybe you probably have to spend a little extra, unless they don't know what it is, and then rob them for all they're worth. Wait, no, don't do that.
Never want to do that.
Don't do that. I'm joking. Yeah, it's a fantastic book. I wish I knew a little bit more about the characters, but Adam explained more than I knew about them. And yeah, I didn't know they existed for the longest time until
Yeah, and if you're getting excited about him as like we are as well, other books to look out for. Dr. Phosphorus' first appearance is actually in Detective Comics 469, which predates this book. So it's kind of like an early appearance of one of the major characters.
Oh,
so
cool.
Could also go after that one as well. All right, number 3 on the list. We need to talk about them gold. Booster Gold, that is. 1986. Good old Dan Jurgens writing and doing the artwork on this book. That's got to be hard. That's got to be so hard.
Oh, and a double duty.
Love me some Dan Jurgens. All right, guys. Obviously, first appearance of Booster Gold. It's kind of cool when they do that. You know, they start a title out. It's like you get your own book and it's your first appearance. It's kind of risky. It's a little risky. But you also have Skeets, the robot, his sidekick. Interesting name for Skeets, the robot. And Blackguard, who's also his kind of main villain. He's on the cover as well. We've already seen him. Pete Davidson played him in Suicide Squad. We thought we'd get more, but he kind of died right away. So I don't know if Blackguard's much of a spec. But it was cool. This book has kind of gone up and down over the years a little bit. We got like a little hint that something was going to happen, but it's always held its value. It's you know, for a book in 1986, I've always thought it's pretty well priced. Stays right around that $50 mark for like a raw copy. But Booster Gold, obviously James Gunn thinks this is a really fun and exciting character. He announced that there's going to be a Booster Gold TV show on HBO Max. So that's going to be cool. It's nice to see a TV show. Obviously, he has a long past in the DC Comics. He was a member of the JLA for a long time. Back when the team was kind of crappy, when they had crappy people on the JLA. That's kind of when he was on the team. He got his butt kicked by Doomsday. Remember that? Crushed his suit. Wasn't able to be a superhero after that for a while. And longtime friend of Blue Beetle. They always kind of kick it together. They love each other. And not the new Blue Beetle, the other one. Yeah, the middle one. Yeah. The middle Blue Beetle, not the Golden Age.
No one remembers what his name is.
Somebody does. Somebody out there. And you know, a lot of people haven't read Booster Gold, so if you're wondering like what is he? What's his superhero powers? Well, he is a loser from the future, and in his time there's all kinds of special suits you can put on, but everybody's got one. So it's like you can't really be a superhero because everybody's got these special suits. So he decides to go to the past and become a superhero in the past with his special suit. So he's a good guy at heart. Little goofy, little arrogant sometimes, but kind of similar to like Guy Gardner. You know, it's kind of cool the way they wrote characters like that. And Marvel, I don't think quite has characters that like are the heroes, but are also kind of jerks, sort of Deadpoolish, but not quite that, you know, out there. But
not that extreme.
Yeah, not that extreme, but it's really cool. Yeah, so he doesn't actually have any powers. He just has a special suit that gives him power, sort of like Iron Man-esque. But I believe he's not actually smart enough that when the suit gets destroyed, he can't fix it. So like, because like someone else he'd have to get those parts from the future. So it's interesting. I put this out there to everybody, and I'm not much of like a casting person. Like I used to think about who could play this role, and I know for years everybody wants Chris Pratt, you know, to be this character. I feel like that's a little on the nose. It's like obvious that would be the casting. He's friends with James Gunn. They probably want him to be a character in the DCU. So I don't know. I mean, he could definitely pull this off. I think he's the perfect casting choice, but I don't know if that would just be like too obvious, right?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Is it time to get this book though? We got a 9.8. Should you have one?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Jake Gyllenhaal would be a good pick. No, I'm joking.
With blonde hair?
You would change it blonde, yeah. Okay. Price a year ago for a CGC 9.8. It was all golden at $480. And then it was turned out to be fool's gold.
Now she's Velveeta?
Velveeta at $285. Range is 216 to 700. Average sales 377. It's a 41% drop. There's 2,368 total graded.
Oh.
Quite a bit. Only 501 are 9.8. That's 21%
right
of total graded. Under that 25%, what we like to see. I think this is a fantastic cover once again. It's a little bit slightly too much for me, but at the same time, it's still an iconic cover. You can see from distance, recognize it. Mm-hmm. That's how I could tell it's an iconic cover. You just like, bam, you know what it is. It's very easily identified. And a great cover. So, couple first appearances in this, so that's fantastic. Booster Gold could be one of the heavy hitters of the DCU. So that's very possible. And $285 for one of the heavy hitters, not a bad price. I would consider this, as of right now, just buy it in a 9.8. Don't even risk it.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a hard book to get in 9.8, so if you buy a raw. Plus, most of the raw copies I found tend to be a little beat up. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I don't know.
Well read.
Yeah. People like them some Booster Gold. I mean, he had a long running series for being like a C-list character, what shall I say? C-list?
Yeah.
C-list player. Although everybody knows Booster Gold. I knew him, you know. I didn't even read his books.
Boost off my head.
Right? All right, we got a repeat offender. We got a refender? No, that doesn't make any sense. We got number 2 on the list, The Authority, issue number 1. I know we've talked about this before. 1999. And this book was actually printed through DC Wildstorm. Brian Hitch, who did some good artwork on this. I'm not a huge fan of Brian Hitch current artwork, but his earlier artwork was really good. And Warren Ellis, the mighty Warren Ellis, wrote this book. And I've never read it. I've said this before. I need to get a find it, collect it, and read this story because I'm really pumped. I want to know more about it. I have read Next Wave, and if it's anything like Next Wave, it's got to be funny and gritty and goofy. Next Wave's super goofy and awesome, and I'm guessing that's what it's like. That's why everyone likes this book a lot. Another book I didn't know that much about until James Gunn announced he wants to do a movie based on The Authority, and it's pretty cool. This book, other than being like The Authority number 1, doesn't really have anything major going on with it. So you do have a couple of first appearances. There is the first appearance of the second engineer, which is in the original team, there's an engineer character, so they have a new engineer for this book. I don't know if that's that important. There's a Joreen Thorndyke's first appearance and Gamora the Dictator. So I don't believe, in my research, I don't believe any of those characters are majorly important. So take it as you will. It's sort of like the first solo title, I guess, of The Authority. So to explain that a little bit more, back in the day, there was a series that came out by Jim Lee called Stormwatch. So he created, when Image was first coming out, he created a title called Stormwatch, which he drew, and I think he had like Brandon Choi did some of the writing, or they both did some of the writing on it. It's kind of like your standard Image 90s book where like kind of fell flat, like people didn't really connect to the writing. The artwork was really good, but like the writing was only like so-so. Well, on issue 37, Warren Ellis took over the writing the book, and that's kind of when everything changed. So like issue 37, look out for that book. It's a great book. It kind of like leads into this. That's where like The Authority kind of like pops up. And you get in after that, when that series ended, they came out with Stormwatch series, the second series, and that's when some really important characters pop up. Also written by Warren Ellis. In issue number 4, you have the first appearance of Apollo and Midnighter, which those are 2 of the more main characters in the group for The Authority. So another really good book. That book I believe is actually more expensive than Authority number 1. So Stormwatch issue number 4. Of the second series, you might want to look out for that one as well. The TV show has been named that it's going to be extremely hyper violent. So it's going to be definitely rated R, some really gritty, crazy stuff. A lot of people, when this got announced, believe that this could be the next Guardians of the Galaxy. So this will be like James Gunn's DCU Guardians of the Galaxy type movie. So we'll see. Like I said, I haven't read much of this comic at all. I've just done some research on it. I really want to read it. Really. I need to get it collected. Somehow I can find it collected out there. Anyway, more importantly though, it's number 2 on the list. It's dropped down a little further. Might be a good time to buy.
It was kicking in your door, that Authority, 1 year ago at $422. Now, it just turned out to be a basic militia. Doesn't have any authority at $200. Range 198 to 570. Average sale is 348. It's a 53% drop. There's 386 total graded. 133 of them are 9.8. It's 34% of total graded. So it's a little higher than we would like. It's all dark cover, so who knows? But it's a little newer. So who knows if this would be an easy 9.8.
It's 25 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty new in consideration. You know, with all the bags of boards you can get. Anyways, I would say this is a very interesting book. It's a great cover to wrap around.
Yeah.
I don't know, you'd recognize it, but I don't know if that's one of those iconic covers. I haven't decided yet on that. But if you're after Authority, this is definitely one of the books you need to get. You need to get, along with that Stormwatch Volume 2, Number 4.
And 37.
And 37.
Of the original run.
Of the original run.
Yeah, that's the 3. That's the trifecta.
Yeah. I honestly, I would try to get this raw. Find a good copy at a good price raw. And then decide what you want to do from there.
Yeah, it's cheap right now. Like a year ago, we saw a lot sell for $70 to $100 raw. And now we're able to find some as low as $20. So... yeah, now I think is the time before, because if that movie's good, this is a book I see staying at like a high price and maybe staying there for a long time. I don't think it'll go back down. If the movie sucks, it'll go back down for sure. Yeah. But you gotta take that chance. James Gunn is, I think he's directing this one specifically. I don't think he's directing all of them, but maybe directing this one. I might just be making that up though. All right, you guys made it all the way to the end. The number 1 drop book of the week. Can you guess what it is? Take a second and guess, because you might not know. This is like not the saddest book, but like I always felt bad for this book.
Yeah.
It should be worth a lot more, and it's not. We may get into that a little bit. We got Legends. Number 1, 1986. John Byrne, Len Wein. Isn't he he's the creator of Wolverine, right? Len Wein?
I don't think
right?
so.
Right?
Is that right?
I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right.
You're
but
right.
This is the first appearance of Amanda Waller, guys, and Brimstone, who's very cool but not as important as you'd think. I actually recently read this story, so I know a little bit about it.
You can read.
Right? So Legends came out basically after they did Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they reset the entire DC universe, reset, like everything that happened before doesn't count for the most part, and now this is the new world. You know, Batman and Superman have never met. We've never seen Wonder Woman before. Like everyone's starting over from scratch. They immediately were like, hey, let's do a series together. Let's do a huge crossover with our brand new world, and this is what happened. So they brought the Legends out. And it has to do with Darkseid. He sends some minions to Earth to basically corrupt the United States and convince the American people that superheroes are bad. Kind of weird that a Titan from another planet would want to come and specifically hurt the United States. I don't know, strange story. But yeah, they show up and they do a bunch of stuff and they convince Ronald Reagan to outlaw superheroes. And yeah, so during this outlaw of superheroes, and there's a bunch of stuff that goes on. You should probably check out the book. It's cool. Brimstone is created, and he kind of like goes on a rampage and serves Darkseid from another planet. And during this time, heroes are outlawed. So step in Amanda Waller, and she creates the Suicide Squad. So the real Suicide Squad has been around for a very long time. They used to be, I think they're called like Team X or something like that. Super Team X. But the Suicide Squad that we know from the movies happens in this book. So the old squad, they didn't have Amanda Waller, it was different people, but she basically gathers up a group, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, the whole 9 yards. No Harley Quinn on this team. But she puts the bombs in their heads, makes them go on the mission, somebody gets killed. I won't tell you who, so when you read it, so you're surprised. But that's where the whole story from this book. And Amanda Waller, cool character. Viola Davis, probably one of the more shining lights from the original movie. I didn't think the original was that bad. I know these two don't like it that much. I thought it was cool. Maybe you're in my camp. Second one was definitely better. But Viola Davis in both of them. She's also in Peacemaker. If you haven't seen that, I don't know why you haven't seen that. It's amazing. They've announced last year she will get her own spin-off series called the Viola Davis, I guess, show. Not Viola Davis show. It's gonna be the Amanda Waller show.
Amanda Waller.
I don't know how that's gonna play out. I like her as a character. I don't know her as a main character, but we'll see. She's interesting. I guess. But I've always said I don't know why this book has always been so cheap for such an iconic character. The only thing I can think of is that DC overprinted this book. It's got to be overprinted because every comic store in America has probably like 3 or 4 copies of this and you can find it sometimes for under $10. Sometimes as cheap as $5 for some reason. So, it's a cool book though. Cool book nonetheless. Give it a try. Maybe Zach will hit you with some numbers on it though.
Okay, it was Legend. Wait for it. $175 for a CGC 9.8 a year ago. Now.
It's just
you
dairy?
You take out the dairy. It's not legendary. You just take out the
Keep
dairy.
waiting.
For 9.8, someone bought it for $50.
My heart hurts.
The low 30, the high 190 over a year. 112 is the average. It's a 71% drop. There's 781 total graded. 260 of them are CGC 9.8s. That's 33% of total graded. Amanda Waller. Great kind of like leader slash, she's not a villain, she's not a hero, she's kind of like right in the middle, anti-hero, I guess.
That's how they got that word.
Anti-hero. And she leads a team, she's very interesting, a little dark. I don't know how she's going to be having her own show. That's going to be interesting how they're going to play that out. I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah,
see
you
if
never
it's
know. Really
good or really bad. It's going to be either or. I don't think there's going to be any middle line with this one. So, but I'm super excited for her to be in other Suicide Squad shows or leading other teams and all that. That's might be their bread and butter. So she's probably going to be showing up quite often in the DCU, at least for the darker side of the.
Yeah, it's good to have like an Oscar level actress, in these superhero movies to give them a little credibility. But it's nice to find new people too, new blood, but having someone of that acting chops. And little known fact, I know most people don't talk about this, but in the Legends series, because everything was restart during a battle that they have with some of the villains in this, Wonder Woman shows up and helps them battle. In this new reality, she did not exist until this book. So they're in a battle and she just pops up exactly like the Batman versus Superman movie, where she just shows up and fights the bad guys with them. They're like, who is this chick? And they're like, oh, I'm Wonder Woman. They're like, oh, okay, you can hang out with us. It's weird, right? No one talks about that, but that's her first appearance in the new world happens in this story.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. It was where do you come from? My mom's. Oh no.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys made it till the end. A little bit longer video, but exciting one nonetheless. The Slab Master, the Slab Procaster.
Producer.
He's gonna lay down the numbers for you. What's your main one to go after and the deal of the day?
The book I would probably go after in this list would probably be the Booster Gold. I think Booster Gold has probably the most iconic cover out of all of them. I would go after also the Supergirl in a raw condition and try to get the 9.8. I think $175 might be hey, I think I could get a raw copy for cheaper and hopefully get a 9.8 on that. The deal, whether it's going to go anywhere or not, is Legends $150 for 9.8 of a key character that's going to be in a lot of DCU movies and shows. I mean, for $50, you're gambling a little bit, but it's only $50.
Prepare yourself, though. If it does go back up, which it could, it will go back down. I can almost guarantee you, no matter how good that show is, we've already seen her do a good job, and it still went back down. So I don't think that book is going to, everybody's got a copy. I think all of us have a copy. Princess might even have 3 copies of that book. Everybody's got one. Coco has a copy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Coco has a copy.
That's probably why it's so cheap.
Yes.
Right? Exactly. All right, guys. That wraps up the drop list for this week. Super exciting. Let us know what you guys think of your casting thoughts for anybody that hasn't been casted yet. Booster Gold specifically. Down in the comments. I'd love to see it. And as always, do all the regular stuff. Like, subscribe, comment. Notification, we're going to be live this Wednesday. We have a brand new mystery box we're going to open that we bought off the internet that could be crappy. Could be good. I don't know. Maybe throwing away our money. We'll find out. You guys got to be there. And Zach, you got anything special?
Yeah, you got to share how you do that. So you have to live in Florida, and you have to be taught a certain set of skills. And you have this proclivity of doing things and this way, that. And your father taught you how to do these things in the right way. That's how you become Dexter. Not the Dexter Laboratory, the Dexter from the HBO show.
The Code?
Showtime. The Code.
Yeah, you don't want to meet the code, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
We meet the code all the time. Wait, no, we don't. Anyways, yeah. stay safe and get those gains.
Get those serial killer gains?
Yeah, but the good kind.
The good
kind.
You gotta do the good kind.
The good kind.
Right. Only kill other killers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Or don't do that at all.
Or
That's
don't do that. Probably not. Yeah.
Stay safe and get those gains.
Don't get caught.